The first part of Better Call Saul Season 6 has come to an end with the mid-season finale, plan and execution, and the Breaking Bad prequel is firing on all cylinders, with us having to wait until July to see how it will all end. But in this video essay, I'm going to be discussing why the first part of this final season is so great in setting up a potentially explosive ending to this fantastic show. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the first 7 episodes of Better Call Saul Season 6, then I would recommend catching up before watching my analysis. But before I get into it, if you want to see more videos on the final season of Better Call Saul, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into my review of Better Call Saul Season 6 Part 1, alongside my thoughts on why I think it sets up the perfect ending. So of the many routes that they could have taken with the mid-season finale of Better Call Saul, I'm sure that not many people predicted how Howard would meet his end, and that him and Lalo would be 2 character arcs that the show joined together. We got 2 complete opposite sides of Better Call Saul meeting in the middle, with that of the cartel and the law. Both of these structures have been moving ever so closer together as the seasons have gone by, and it's something that has symbolised the gradual transformation of Jimmy McGill into Saul Goodman. It all built up to the explosive moment at the end of episode 7, and now it's quite clear that the show has put 2 firm feet in the world of Breaking Bad. The first 7 episodes successfully developed the central story, taking the 2 primary narrative structures and slamming them together in a fitting yet brutal way, and it signals that the final 6 episodes will have the most extreme consequences yet. Of course, there were some viewers that found the first part of Season 6 quite a slow building one, but I'd argue that alongside this mid-season finale being a headshot to that idea, it also solidifies what these episodes have so excellently conveyed. They've built on the immense tension that surrounds the world of Breaking Bad, being ever so close to completely taking over the lives of the characters that have entertained us for many years. The greater humour of this show has been a more relaxing element for us in watching the cons of Jimmy and also Kim escalate further and further, but there was always going to be a point in this show where the seriousness of the overall situation would finally be obvious to the audience. If the tragic death of Nacho Varga earlier in the season wasn't a clear sign of that happening, then the shocking death of Howard Hamlin is the final headshot to make that clear. We've now entered the cartel world, and Better Call Saul Season 6 Part 1 has set up a second part of consequences that will keep us on edge for as long as this show can hold it. It's been a fantastic start to this final season, displaying Emmy-worthy performances from even the supporting players who've made us sympathise with them in this brutal landscape. Who would have thought at the start of this show that the writing would make us truly sympathise for Nacho or Howard the way we do now after their recent deaths? We've seen deeper into their inner turmoil, like with Howard, who was barely able to hide behind his confident lawyer status, once we see into his personal issues at home. Add in that Jimmy and Kim committed to completely burning his reputation, and we learn that this season is one that will make us truly see that what Chuck was saying about Jimmy is totally true. He will hurt everyone around him. And I think this is the central idea that the end of this show is eventually going to answer. Will Jimmy McGill finally break that loop, and in turn, the one of slipping Jimmy and Saul Goodman? Will he find the inner McGill that he can be and eventually do the right thing? The fact that that answer is so unpredictable, especially when we know he takes up Saul Goodman full time in Breaking Bad, makes the writing of this show so masterful. It sets up the perfect ending with part 2 in that we'll finally know how Jimmy will resolve his lifetime choices on Bad Choice Road. Jimmy and Kim are now fully in, they can't escape it, and we know that more bad is going to happen than good. But yet we still have no idea of what that entails for a few of these characters and whether Jimmy will overcome the problems he's always faced. The ending could be a message of him never being able to do that, just like his brother predicted, or it could end in a way which shows that he does change but still faces the consequences for it. I think the latter will be the route they go, but I'm not totally sure that this will be the final stone because of how intelligent the writing has turned out in this final act. I think Season 6 Part 1 is one of the final nails in the coffin when it comes to demonstrating how well they've executed this story. When it started, we didn't think that a prequel show to a character that we already knew what happened to would be all that interesting. And here we are after just witnessing the opening of the final season, debating whether the ending can be as good as Breaking Bad. It's a huge feat that Peter Gould, Vince Gilligan, and all the writers involved have pulled off with Better Call Saul, and I think what they have set up can be quite extraordinary. The show's amazing villain in Tony Dalton's Lalo is someone we of course know is not around in Breaking Bad, yet plan and execution gives him a lifeline. In the moment that he spots a cockroach in the sewer, it recalls back to last season's Bagman episode where Lalo told Kim that nothing was going to happen to Jimmy because he's a survivor and a cockroach. And with Lalo already knowing exactly where to find him and realizing that Gus has tapped the call to his uncle Hector, there's only one option to turn to. In addition, there's many other examples of symbolic occurrences that the writers have shown, only for us to forget. Whether it be the flashback of how Kim's mother was scarily like her and that life had been embedded within her from an early age, or the symbolic reference to the bottle top lying in the corner of the road and being left behind as Jimmy brought it to celebrate in episode 6. Or the added symbolic colours in the character's clothing, like how Kim has major shirt changes to symbolise her greater affiliation with Saul. It's stuff that has been so geniusly designed and increasingly placed, making us think over and over about how this show and its individual characters will come to an end. Like, do the shadows in scenes with Kim, whether it be the blinds at the window or so on, suggest that she will eventually go to jail? We don't know if that's the case, but it's the smaller details and the extent that the creators have gone to when putting together Better Call Saul that makes it the best show on TV. It calls for rewatching it after it's finished to see all the connections, what they mean, and then also revisit Breaking Bad. Season 6 may be the best season yet when it comes to hinting at this stuff, and it's only fitting in a season full of tension and complete transition when it comes to going from the world of Better Call Saul into the violent world of its predecessor. And now, with 6 weeks to wait until the final episodes, we're desperate to see how this will all go down. Howard's death means that Better Call Saul has reached a point of no return, and with Kim and Jimmy now being deeply involved in Albuquerque's criminal underworld, the legal sides of this show have faded. The slow build over the seasons, and particularly this one, have been foreshadowing that the entire time. We've seen the origin of characters like Mike, Jimmy, and Kim go from flawed individuals into those increasingly embarking down Bad Choice Road. And we've seen greater complexities and fears within characters like Gus, Hector, or even those like Nacho. And aside from the mental effects that I'm sure Howard's death will have on our main characters like Kim and Jimmy, the impact of the cartel-related conflicts will create even more desperation for them. While we know that Jimmy is the cockroach that survives into the events of Breaking Bad, we still have many questions. What happens to Kim? How does Lalo die? And what does it mean for the future? And how does Saul become the way he is in future timelines? With Howard now lying dead on Jimmy and Kim's apartment floor, and us having all of these other questions, the writers have made us desperate for answers. So now, they have 6 episodes to deliver on pretty much all of this, and while on the surface it seems like a monumental task, I think they've proven with every twist, major death, or incident so far, that sometimes the truthful answer is the right choice. The The outcomes always have a purpose, and there's never a doing this to simply create a twist. The twist comes and works because it's something you never imagine, yet it feels so right for what the show has been tackling and trying to say. The death of Howard is what the entirety of episode 7 and this show have been giving context for, and this is that us and the characters have fully entered this criminal landscape. I have confidence that they will stay true to the characters left and give us an ending that is right for the journeys they've been on. If you watched my predictions video the other day, you'll know that I found it incredibly hard to predict where these characters will end up in these last few episodes. But the confidence of what we've seen and the high level of TV produced so far tells us quite clearly that we can expect huge collateral damage in Season 6 Part 2. With all that went down in Part 1, we can only imagine what's waiting for us in the second part. But that was my video essay for Better Call Saul Season 6 Part 1. The start of this season has been quite the masterclass in how to write television, and I'm insanely excited to find out what the showrunners have been planning for the end of it all. Of course, any show can turn out disappointing, but I think along with Breaking Bad, this is one of the rare examples where I have complete confidence in what they're doing. They've hit the landing well before, and it's very rare that we get the same writers hit gold twice in a row. I think that just speaks to how great of a job they've done so far with Better Call Saul, and I'm very confident that the ending of Season 6 will be totally worth it. Overall, Better Call Saul Season 6 Part 1 is the beginning of the end that indicates an even stronger Part 2 with many unexpected events on the way. I gave 2 episodes in this first part of Season 6 a 10 out of 10 rating, and I'm expecting the quality to only stay high as we reach the conclusion. With top tier performances, gorgeous cinematography, and perfect storytelling, Better Call Saul is on the path to being one of the best shows on TV we've ever seen. Now all that's left is for them to pull off the ending and give us the truthful answer to the life of Jimmy McGill. But to those who have already seen the first 7 episodes, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and what do you think will happen come the end of this fantastic show? Let me know down below in the comment section. For videos on every upcoming episode of Better Call Saul Season 6, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.